So Johanna, I want to ask you, what does yoga mean to you, and what do you think is the definition of yoga, like in your way, in your terms?
My terms. Well, of course, yoga means to yoke, or to bring into union. We all know that. Well, those of us that study, we know that. And I really think it does come down to that. For me, it is bringing all the disparate parts of the self back into the oneness. Right? So if you think we come from the one light, right? And then as we come through, you know, we become this one unique ray, right? We also have many rays of our own being. We see that in the chakras. So we have the way we live in the world. We have the way we move through the world. We have the way we sit in our will in the world. We have the way our heart resonates in the world. We have the way we speak our truth, right? We have the way we see. We have the way we connect to the oneness. And a lot of times those parts are not in conversation with each other.
Yeah.
And to me, yoga is a way to bring all of those things back into conversation with each other. Right? So as you know, in my classes, I focus a lot on really what I would call a full spectrum approach. So we're not just doing the physicality, right? Even though asana is beautiful in and of itself, it's beautiful. There's a sacred geometry. There's so much going on there. But particularly in my classes, I really focus on how the mind, the emotions, the spirit interact with the body, right? And so for me, it's about bringing the whole thing together in conversation, almost so the whole being is singing, right, in a beautiful orchestral way.
Yeah, I did want to touch upon that. For people who don't really know much about yoga and are brand new to it, what would you say? Like, how would you explain what really yoga is? Because a lot of people still think that it's just about, you know, the girls in the tight pants and the green juice and the yoga mat and doing all the flexible poses, and that's pretty much as far as it goes here in the West.
Yeah.
Like, how would you explain it in simple terms to somebody who like maybe wants to try? You know?
Yeah. Well, of course, the physical practice is one part of it, right? But it's only one part. Right? If we look at the 8 limbs of yoga, it's one of 8 aspects of yoga. So yoga is really a way to live in communication with yourself, in full communication with yourself. So it does involve the physical, because we have so many people, even though they're very active, they're not actually embodied. Those are 2 different things, right? They might go to the gym all the time, but they're doing that because they want to control their body, or they're not actually talking to it. Right, so the physical aspect is very important, but it's one aspect. But then it's also how then do I speak with my mind, right? What is my relationship with my mind, right? And then, you know, food, of course, is part of the physical aspect, but it's like, what is my relationship to my body, and how do I feed it? Do I feed it because I'm caring for it, or do I feed it because I want to shut it down? You know, and so really what yoga does is ask you to be conscious in your life. You know, not just physically, yes, physically, not just physically, but in the way you interact with other people, right? In the way you interact with your own mind and your thoughts. You know, so I would say for people that are just beginning, it sounds like it's this big deal, and it is, because it encompasses everything. But it comes down to simply being present with your whole self, you know, and learning the art of being present with your whole self.
And I mean, the yamas and niyamas are for a reason before the asana, and the first principle is non-violence. So non-violence towards the world, towards yourself, and I think it's very important that people understand like the deeper meaning of yoga, and really not just get stuck with this one physical aspect. Like I said, it's a way of life, you know, and it definitely shines through your life, because I can like literally physically feel your presence, and all the other students do, I'm sure.
Thank you.
They can appreciate your energy. Like, it takes some practice to probably have this kind of strength, such a strong energy, and so much centeredness. So I'm sure you have a very regular routine, right? Can you share like a little bit? Like, do you do like meditation every day? Like, what's your daily thing?
You know, it's shifted over the years. Obviously I came in from being a dancer, so I came in from a very physical perspective, and I still love the physical practice. But my primary focus at this point in my life at 45 is I'm interested in a sustainable long practice for myself, one that I can carry through my years ahead. And so first and foremost, I start with my day with meditation. So I have a very, very centered meditation practice. It varies according to what I'm working with in my own life to some degree, but usually I stick with something for at least 40 days.
Okay.
You know, and for me right now, I'm really in this bhakti phase where I wake up and I have a singing bowl that's tuned to the heart chakra, and I just chant for 30 minutes or more,
That's
and
amazing.
then I just have a conversation with my highest self, with the divine, with my angels, and
I do that too. Like I write things.
Yeah. And I'm loving this. Sometimes I have a much more specific, pranayama techniques and certain meditation techniques, but right now,
that's like varies.
It varies. I always have a practice.
Okay. Well, you do something.
Always, and it's the first thing.
Well,
that
I think that's
I
so
do.
important that practice is a regular practice, and in this Western mindset, we just want like the end results, and people just like they want to meditate, and then tomorrow they want to feel better.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that, of course.
It doesn't work like that. So I want to remind you guys, and especially those who say, "Well, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible." Well, that's why you do yoga. And then it's flexible not only physically, mentally flexible and strong and persistent. And of course, it's going to be lapses. We will just drop it in the middle of the way, and then we'll start again.
It's part of being human,
everything,
right?
I mean, it's
So
like training
human.
a muscle. It's like training your mind. You need to adapt the new habit, and your spiritual practice has to be consistent. So thank you so much for sharing. This is so important. I really appreciate it again. And hopefully we'll have again some conversations in the future.
I love it.
So
I love chatting with you.
Yeah, so thank you, and please follow Johanna on Facebook and YouTube.